setting up your intrusion detection AI analytics for Paramount series. Okay, today I'm logged into one of our demo units via the web browser. Now, if you're doing this off of the local monitor, very simply, the options are going to be identical except for this one thing. So over here at the top, you have live display, playback, search and backup, intelligent analytics, and function panel. If you're working off of the local monitor connected to a recorder, then from the recorder, you'll have a circle with 4 squares in the bottom left. You'll go ahead and click on settings. Settings will be your function panel, and you'll have the same exact options as I have here on the screen. From this point on, everything's going to be exactly identical, so you'll be able to follow along if you're doing it off of the local monitor as well. Okay, so very simple. I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible to simplify this process for you. So you're going to go ahead and go to your AI event section from the function panel or settings. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to click on AI event again. Once you go ahead and click on AI event, you're going to want to then select the camera that you're going to be working on. So today we're going to be working off of PAR P4 TX IR AI WLT camera. Okay. And then you're going to want to choose the function that you want to utilize. Okay. So right now, as the default, line crossing gets selected, but what you're going to want to go ahead and select is intrusion. Okay. Once you select intrusion, the first thing you're going to want to do is enable detection by IPC. Okay, so go ahead and put a check mark there. That enables the intrusion detection. IPC stands for Internet Protocol Camera. Once you have that selected and turned on, you're going to want to then select your zone. It's kind of like connect the dots. Okay, so this is the field of area of the camera. So then I'm going to go ahead and click where I want to put my intrusion zone. So if I want to put it, let's say on this sidewalk, I go ahead and click my first dot, puts a dot there. I click again, puts a second dot. And then I can put my third dot down here. Put my next dot there, and then I can close it. You have to always close your zone. So go ahead and close your zone. And once you have your zone selected and closed, you can do up to 6 points. But once you have your zone collected, this part's good. You can then select the schedule. So most people leave this on 24/7. I would recommend leaving it on 24/7 because this gives you your intelligent analytics and your playback AI recording. So that's probably for the best. But if you want to adjust your schedule, you can. The system comes with a 24/7, 24/5, and 24/2 schedule, but you can go ahead and hit manage and create your own by hitting the manage button, hitting this plus sign here in the top right. You can name your schedule and then drag the times that you want your schedule to be, and then hit add when you're all done. And then it should show up here in the list. As you can see, I created one here. It's after hours, so I have it from midnight to 8 a.m. and then from 5 p.m. to midnight. And I had that copied over to all my days as an example. So once I have it in the list, I can then close out of my scheduling and then I can just select from my drop-down box under schedule. Okay, but I do recommend leaving it on 24/7. Duration is going to be your post recording. Okay, so post recording can be as little as 3 seconds or as much as 2 minutes. And this is just after your AI event clears out, how long it stays in an AI recording. And then you can set up to 4 areas per camera. So if I have this first area set, I can then go ahead and, do a second area. If I want to do, let's say, the parking area, close that up. And now anytime somebody steps into that zone, it's going to trigger an AI recording. So whether somebody crosses in or exits out, it's going to do an AI recording for me. And like I said, you can do up to 4 lines per camera, 4 zones. Okay. Make sure none of the zones intersect with each other. So what I mean by that, if you check this box, you can display your previous drawn zones, even though you're working on, let's say, a third one. So you don't want your second zone to run into your third zone or so on. Third zone doesn't run into any of your other zones. So they all got to be individualized. A couple of things not to do with intrusion detection. So with intrusion, you don't want to do this. Okay, you don't want to do the entire field of view. It's not motion, so it's not gonna, you doing this entire field of view. You may get some snaps here and there, some AI analytical recording, but it's just not going to be accurate. You're much better off doing it the way that we just did it, breaking it up into separate zones. So like I could do a separate zone for my sidewalk, a separate zone for my parking lot if I had, a different angle. I could do the grass up here. I could do the grass up here in the top left in my fourth zone. And you can kind of fill up the entire field of view of the camera anyway with 4 zones. So you're much better breaking it up. Okay, so not doing one gigantic zone. Okay, once you have your zone set and all that is set, go ahead and hit apply here on the right. And then you're going to move on to detection target. What detection target is simply means what triggers my zones. Okay, so detection target, you have human, you have vehicle, and you have non-motor vehicle. That's what AI recording is. It's human and vehicle classification. Okay, so do I want my zones to be triggered, my intrusion zones to be triggered by humans? Do I want it to be triggered by motor vehicles? Do I want it to be triggered by non-motor vehicles? Non-motor vehicles would be like a scooter or a bike. So that's what these options are. Okay, so I can do a combination of these things, or I can do one of these things, or I can do two of these things. You're just saying, what is my zone triggered by? So that's what all this means. So go ahead and select that how you want it. Your sensitivity, 50 is usually a good spot to be. If you're having trouble detecting some targets or and whatnot, having some trouble picking up the AI recording, you can bring the sensitivity up. If you feel like it's overly sensitive, you can try bringing it down a little bit. But 50 is usually a good spot to be. That's the default spot. Once you're done with that, go ahead and hit apply. Trigger mode. This very simply means what happens when my zone is triggered. Okay, so I can do a snapshot. Snapshot is a little bit of overkill because you're already getting the snapshots in the intelligent analytics. I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. You can do push. Push is on by default because you get the push notifications from the phone app. They're turned on and turned off from the phone app. You can set up a separate push schedule if you wanted to. Up here in the top left, there's going to be another video that shows you how to do that if you're interested in that. Buzzer will make the buzzer go off on the actual physical recorder. It's a nice loud buzzer. Pop-up video is, let's say you're viewing 16 cameras. This only affects the local monitor. Let's say you're viewing 16 cameras on the local monitor. If I have this turned on, when an AI event occurs for this camera in my intrusion zone, it's going to pull this camera up full screen for me. And then it'll revert back to the 16 camera view I was looking at previously once the AI event clears out. Email is very simply an email notification. So you'd receive an email notification. This can be set up in your networking section of your recorder. IPC audio and IPC light. These are two very interesting options because the camera that I have has a built-in speaker on it. It also has a built-in white light on it. Okay, so what this very simply does is if your camera has a built-in speaker, you check the box, whatever message you have it set to play. So when an AI event occurs, it's going to play that message. You can set that up under the audio section here in the top left under event notification. Okay. You can also set up a separate schedule for that. So if you only want it to happen later at night or during work hours, however you want to set it up, you can go ahead and set that up. IPC light, very simply, is if your camera has a white light on it or the red and blue deterrent lights on them. So if that happens, if it's a white light, for instance, this camera will then kick in with the white light turning on and the image will be in color at night. If you have the red and blue lights, they act as a deterrent. So you can go ahead and check that and the red and blue lights will kick on. So that's all that is. Again, you can set separate schedules for this stuff as well. Record. This is set up for you out of the box. You really don't have to mess with this here. I won't go too in depth here. There are things you can do, but this is set up out of the box, ready to go. So you don't have to mess with these functions. Alarm out is if you're using the alarm outs on the back of the recorder or on the camera dongle itself. Some of the cameras have alarm outs on them. Some of the NVRs in the back of them have alarm outs. So if you could, in theory, wire a gate or an alarm system or whatever really whatever you want to wire to it, this is just a normally open, normally closed contact. So essentially what you're saying is, let's say I wired something to the alarm output on the back of the recorder. I move it over to this column. I want this alarm output to trigger. So what this is going to do now, I canceled. What this is going to do is going to close that contact when an AI event occurs for this camera, when somebody steps into my intrusion zone. Okay. And then you have trigger presets. Trigger presets are really intended for PTZs. So if you have a PTZ camera, let's say on the left of the building, and I want it to look in the direction of this camera when the AI event occurs, I can set up a preset on that camera, and then select it from the drop-down box here. And basically what's going to happen is this camera is going to look in that direction when this AI event occurs. Again, you make any changes here, make sure you hit apply. Your intrusion detection is all set up. It's really that simple, that easy to set up. What it looks like when it's being utilized and working, you can go to your intelligent analytics. You can do, let's say, a vehicle search. I can select the camera that I want to search for. I can select the time that I want to search for. And then I can choose the type of event. I can leave it on all, or if I just want to look at my intrusion zones, I can do that. Select intrusion. Okay. And then I just hit search. Basically, what this is going to look like is I'm doing a vehicle search right now. So what a vehicle search would look like is when somebody steps into one of my intrusion zones, it's going to get a snapshot of the vehicle. I can then click on the thumbnail. It'll play the video clip of when it captured that vehicle. I can check the box here and click back up. It'll save it right to my PC. And again, remember the interface is exactly the same on the local monitor. So if I check the box here and hit back up on the actual monitor, it's going to ask me to put a thumb drive into the unit and it'll back up this clip. Okay. I can click on original image. It'll show me the wide angle view of what the camera was looking at instead of the digitally zoomed in. Or I can click on any of these thumbnails again and play the video clip here in the bottom left. Okay. And then you can do the same thing because again, it's people classification as well. So I can go to the human body section, select the same options here. You have the date that you're looking for, the camera that you're looking for, or you can do all. And I'm just going to do a search for today. And it's going to be anytime it detected a person stepping into one of my zones. Okay, and it'll have you a nice digital zoomed in view of the person. You can click on any of these thumbnails and it'll play the video clip of when it captured that person as well. And that's it. That's setting up intrusion detection on the Paramont series.